Hi, I am Sonia Morgan, the broker owner of SJ Morgan Private Lending Exchange, and I'm coming to you today to bring to you 5 tips on how you can get your credit score better or increase your credit score or just keep your credit score great. Tip number 1 for keeping a great credit score, pay your bills on time. This may seem like a simple solution, but I wanted to talk with you a little bit about what on time means. So for a credit report, a late payment is recorded on a credit report when it has been 30 days late. So for example, if you receive your bill late in the mail or something to that effect, and you have a late fee for being 10 days late or 15 days late or 5 days late, whatever that may be, you're probably going to be okay. It's not going to be recorded on your credit report until you are 30 days late. So that typically means that you have actually not made a payment and now your next payment is due. And so now you're kind of 2 payments behind by the time that a late payment is being recorded on your credit report. And lates can be 30, 60, and 90 days. So once you haven't made a payment for a whole month, you now have a 30-day late. If you haven't made a payment for 2 months, then you're 60 days late. And for 3 months, you would be 90. And so each increment time, it has more of an impact on your score. So if you've made a mistake, it's okay, but just try to get back on track as soon as you can. Tip number 2 for keeping your credit score low is to keep your balances low. So people oftentimes are not really sure what that means. So I'm going to give you an example of a great math equation for how to keep your credit balances in the right spot. So first one is that if your balance or your credit limit is at, let's just say $1,000, that makes it a really easy number, you are going to want to keep ideally your balance at around $330, so about a 33%. So anytime that you start charging that card up past 33%, it's going to start affecting your credit score negatively. So people always ask me, how do I get the 800 score? Well, keep your balances at about 30% of what your maximum credit limit is. So if you get to 50%, so say for example, your limit is $1,000 a month and you get up to $500, it's not going to be that bad, but you're not going to have an 800 score. You're still going to have a good score. But once you start getting above 50, it's really going to start affecting your score. And then if you get all the way up to like the $1,000, then your score is going to be affected. You're probably going to start dropping down to the low 600s. If you get above that, like you owe $1,020, it's really going to hurt your score. So try to keep your balances low. Tip number 3 for keeping your credit score low is don't open too many new credit cards. Don't open too many accounts at once. So for example, you go out and buy a new car and you buy new furniture and you open a new credit card. It's gonna freak the credit reporting depositories out a little bit. They're going to say like, oh, let's lower this person's credit score, so let's slow them down on getting credit. So it's a good idea if you are wanting to say, buy a house, because that's what I'm in the business with helping people do. You're not going to want to go buy a car or open new credit cards probably for at least 6 months before you buy the house. So it would be good to buy the house first and then begin to do those things. One of the big mistakes that we see our clients do during the credit or the process of purchasing their home is that they go out and buy new furniture, a new refrigerator, and they open all these new trade lines. And then if for some reason the credit needs to be repulled, it really affects their credit. So just hang on, get the house bought, get your keys, and then start making changes. Tip number 4, do not allow your bills to go into collection. So credit tip number 1 was to pay your bills on time. But now we're talking about a whole different thing. So sometimes you may have like a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment, or let's just say even, for example, your phone bill, your electric bill, your cable bill. That's one we see a lot, a cell phone bill. And it's not reporting on your credit report because it's not a credit trade line in the sense that you owe somebody a loan. It's just a monthly bill that you have or a one-time bill. But let's just say, for example, you don't like your phone carrier, you decide, I'm mad at them, I'm not going to pay my phone bill anymore, forget it, I'm going to go buy a new phone and forget these people. But you have a contract with them and they report the fact that you're not paying them on your credit card. Now that becomes what's called a collection. So you have trade lines on your credit. This is your credit card, your car payment, your house payment, and at the very bottom, they have collections. And so a collection account, they're going to send you letters. They're going to tell you, if you don't pay this bill, we're going to send you to collections. And they mean it. And once they send you to collections, that will be on your credit report and it will be very difficult to get off of your credit report. And even once you've paid it, and the balance is zero, it's still going to affect your credit. Although a lot of times paying the balance to zero will help your score go up, but you're not going to have an ideal score if you allow things in your life to go into collection. So once again, just like I've said before, if things do go into collection, it's not the end of the world. We can still get a loan for you. Today we are talking about how to have ideal credit, and you can certainly buy a house without ideal credit, but do your best not to let things go into collection. And sometimes people don't even realize that something has gone into collection. Sometimes there are mistakes. I have oftentimes seen people come in and we pull their credit, and then they realize, what is this $45 collection charge on here? And it happened to be a doctor's visit they made, and they maybe moved and the letters were going to their old location and they had no idea that they owed their doctor $40, or they paid the doctor when they went there and it was the paperwork was done incorrectly and it ended up being in collection, and it's something that can be fixed or helped. And so I would say also get an app so that you can watch and make sure that those things don't show up on your credit as a surprise. Credit score tip number 5. If you have credit cards and you are just being amazing and not using them, you think that's the greatest thing that you can do is just to keep the balance at zero, you have the credit card for a rainy day, that is not helping your credit score get better. So the best way to make sure that you are helping your credit score get better is to charge small amounts on your credit card. After all, a credit score is judging how well you utilize credit. And if you're not using the credit at all, you can't be scored. So many times when we are helping people increase their credit, we will tell them, okay, you have this credit card, it has a limit of $500 on it, go spend $10 or $15 on it. I personally have a credit card that I use just for getting my score better, and I will buy all of my Amazon books. Like, I love to read books in my Amazon Kindle, and that's my automatic. Anytime I buy a book, it goes right to that credit card, and then my bank automatically pays that credit card off each month. And so I am not maxing out the credit card. It makes for a really great way to keep your credit score great. I hope you've enjoyed the 5 tips that we gave today on how to get your credit score better. Tune in for more.